feel lonely by your side in the middle of the night. I feel lonely by your side in the middle of the light. I'm standing in the dark. I'm listening to you, and all I fear is love. Aggressive vibes consuming me. I'm falling just for you. It's all again, 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 so consume me.
Good evening, everyone. It's Monday again, and that means it's time for Monday Night Customs Analyst Desk. I'm your host, Doom Geek.
I'm your host, Cash. How are you all doing today?
I'm doing great, Cash. Really excited to go ahead and take a look at some of these games from last week. I think folks are still trying to figure out some of the nuances of the new Howling Abyss, but I'm starting to see some strategies come together. Let's go and take a look at that match. Cash, what are we looking at here? Cash, what do we see here? Alright, well, looks like we might have some technical difficulties with Cash's audio, but in the meantime, I can go ahead and walk us through while we get that part figured out here. So, taking a look, we currently have Team 1 with Amumu, Zyra, Pyke, Katarina, and Varus. Some notable standouts there being the Pyke and Katarina there. Definitely a little bit of an ability to dive in the back line, and some assassins that we haven't really seen too often before. And meanwhile, on the other team, currently we have Morgana, Lux, Lucian, Sion, and Alawi. And in this particular case, we have two solid frontliners to match the Mumu on the other team. I think this is going to be pretty interesting, to say the least, and that with the double snare from Team 1, they have ability to kind of go ahead, poke out Team 2. Team 2 still without poke, but the Alawi is able to capitalize on the snare to layer on some more damage. Meanwhile, on Team 2, they seem to be pretty dependent on the Varus maybe to go ahead and shred down those tanks and have those assassins dive on those three squishies.
Yeah, we can also see that along with their poke, so you've got the bindings from Lux and Morgana, you have the Alawi that can capitalize on those bindings. So as soon as they send out a binding, catch somebody, Alawi can just go in there, throw out her E, pull their spirit out, and then everybody can just sort of whack on that spirit and get that free damage, which, you know, at the first level is like 30% of their health, which is nothing to scoff at.
For sure, for sure. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into the games. It's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out. I'm really looking forward to see if the Katarina can slip by the front lines of Blue Team. Let's take a look at the first clip. So, taking a look here, the game's still pretty early on. Both teams going ahead and pushing forward. Red team with a little bit of a gold advantage here, as Katarina is trying to follow up with the Mumu here. Alawi collapses on the Mumu who's going in. Big also by Zara to zone out the back line here. Now with Sion trying to move forward as well. Aggressive move by Lucian here to go ahead and try to take him out. But Pyke does manage to assassinate the Lucian. Now it's currently 3 for 3. The Assassin's still notably up for red team. Still hungry for more. Lux is pretty low here. Will blue team be able to make any additional moves? Pyke is once again on the hunt, and Pyke lands the ulti, managed to get the kill. Now, Katarina also goes in. Will they be able to kill the Sion? Morgana playing ultra careful here, and Pyke gets yet another kill. Now the rest of blue team starting to come out with the spawn, and Pyke was taken out before he could get yet another kill. What high impact plays there once the fight broke out there. Cash, walk us through that. What else do we see?
What we can see from the blue team is you can see Alawi sort of pushing up into that bush, and she's sort of getting bullied there, right? I mean, everybody's jumping onto her, and when she ults, she only gets the Amumu because the Katarina just jumps out as soon as it's happening. Sion is trying to hold mid lane, but it's not enough. Pyke and Katarina just sort of walk by him. Lucian sees some low people, goes in to try and execute them. Unfortunately, Pyke manages to survive and gets away, and with his passive, he just heals up. And then we can see Pyke is now looking for another kill. Sion is back, pushing forward. Lux is like poking in. Pyke knows that Lux is there. He sees the Lux sort of sitting there. Lux tries to run away and walks straight into the ult from Pyke. Katarina comes in, sort of gets this kill. Sion is trying to execute. He's trying to proc that hurt steal, but it's just not enough time.
For sure. And something really curious here too is that you mentioned about was the lack of mobility from Sion. As Sion's trying to go ahead and move around, he's unable to keep up with the assassins that are simply kind of maneuvering around him. So that's good play on the assassin's part to try to take advantage of lack of mobility from Sion. Let's go and see the next clip here. The game's progressed a little forward. Blue team has managed to close the gold gap a little more here. And now we're looking at blue team having taken red team's tower and starting to siege on the next one here. I want to call out the debris here that's currently creating a choke for blue team as they're kind of fighting forward. The snowball hit does hit Lux as they're going to go in. Amumu does actually take the snowball in here. Both teams trying to move up. Amumu playing very aggressively trying to get the position here. They're starting to dive in. Amumu ulti only hits one of them. Katarina ulti is still within the Lawi ulti, and although Pyke's trying to take people out, the Lucian in the back with full health manages to go ahead and slowly chip people away. It's an ace for the blue team. Wow, what a difference a little bit of a positioning in these fights makes, huh, Cash?
Yeah, plus because the first tower had gone down, there's that choke point. And, you know, Sion's a big boy. He can control that choke point really well. Whereas the other team, the Amumu, has to sort of get in there. Amumu wants to hit the entire backline with his ult, which he tries to do. So you see Amumu throw out a snowball, and then he hits the Lux. Right here, there we go. See, he hits the Lux. And you can see Alawi's kind of like up here, she throws out her ult, but the Amumu, you know, he's got to chase this Lux down. And like he flashes in, he goes deeper in, but there's so much distance, his team is not there. And the Sion is over there just actually keeping control of that backside this time. Whereas the first time, we could just walk by him. You can see Zyra's been pushed out, Katarina gets executed. We see Pyke is still there, he's going in for an execute. We see that Lucian is able to just execute the Pyke by killing his spirit, because he's already taking plenty of damage.
Wow, that was a really good call out there with the killing of the spirit part. That was something that definitely flew by when you're watching at normal speed. I also want to say too that it was super unlucky for the Lux to get caught with 2 snowballs here, kind of giving the openings that red team needed to go in. But I think that kind of goes to show the importance of debris here in creating a tight fighting space for where the Alawi will thrive in. Let's go ahead and take a look at this last clip here. Red team has once again managed to reestablish that gold lead they had from earlier. So let's go ahead and see what happens as blue team is starting to siege red team to maybe take the win. We have a snowball hit from the Pyke, but then Pyke managed to pull in a ton of ultis from red team going down. Alawi gets deleted. Amumu there on the hunt. The Lucian ult not getting as much damage. Big ulti by Lucian locks down the rest of blue team while the red team takes out the Scion. Red team now coming in, collapsing as assassins with high mobility close in, leaving just the Lux. And I think this match should be it. Lux also gets caught in here. Let's go ahead and see the Pyke ulti happens, and there it is. Red team manages to go ahead and eliminate all of blue team and taking it for the win there. Wow, Cash. That fight also happened really quick. And once again, these snowballs, a double-edged sword, right? Sometimes they take you places you don't necessarily want to go.
Yeah, another point that I think is interesting here is the so the Alawi is kind of like way too far up ahead, right? This tower has only just gone down. The Alawi is on the right side, sort of pushing in. We can see that there's an open left flank for that Amumu to sort of get in. And, you know, the Amumu takes some damage, but it's not enough. One thing that I noticed, though, is that items-wise, the blue team is not respecting the 80 damage of the Varus and the Pyke well enough. Everybody has mainly magic resist. I mean, there is a death stance that I see out there, but there's not enough armor to sort of handle the output of damage that's coming out.
That's a good call out, and that's another thing too that as we were looking back at items here, we quickly realized that the Varus here actually built lethality with Dustblade, really trying to go ahead and punish the backline of blue team. So they are really saying, hey, if we can get through your front line, you're screwed, and that's what kind of happens in this last fight right here. That's when and seal the deal. So, want to go ahead and call out that congrats to Red Team managing to go ahead and take the victory there, to go ahead and push on through. Cash, I thought there were a lot of big power players that game. Who do you think was MVP?
I think it has to go to the Pyke. I think because of how slippery Pyke was this game and the advantages they took, like especially that last fight where the Alawi snowballs and then the Pyke is just able to dash as soon as the Alawi's coming in. He's able to pull the Alawi far away from the team where they can just sort of punish it, plus get that stun. And in the second fight in the first fight where the Pyke gets all these assassinations with his ultimate, I mean, Pyke pretty much was the MVP of that game.
For sure. And one of the things I thought about there too, like both Pyke and Katarina both have high impact plays, on top of the Amumu creating the space. But I think the constant fear of Pyke from blue team was something that was to be commended. Blue team also didn't really have any ways of putting down some hard CC for both Katarina and Pyke. So once they got in there, even though blue team here was running a pretty aggressive triple exhaust comp, they still, exhaust just simply isn't good enough to fully put in the lockdown, because as soon as the exhaust goes down, Pyke can still get the executes, so on and so forth. So congrats once again to Red Team for taking the win there. Really looking forward to seeing what other interesting plays the folks can bring this week. I think the leveraging of the debris on the second clip was pretty crucial to mixing things up for blue team and trying to give them the edge. But we'll go ahead and see what happens this week. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. I'm Doom Geek.
And I'm Cash.
Good luck on the Abyss. Bye-bye.